If Illinois has any hopes to win the Big Ten Conference this year, they're going to have to beat Maryland on Thursday.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Thursday game day edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me on all your favorite social medias. Just do a quick search for Locked On Illini. Help me grow those communities. And if you'd like to support this show right here while you're watching, just quickly hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, and we can get on with the show. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, Illinois will be battling the Maryland Terrapins in what Philip from the Discord mentioned was the only P5 game on TV on Thursday. So that should be interesting. Illinois is going to have the national spotlight on them. And, you know, after what happened 4 days ago, and seriously, like the narrative still being about Illinois fans and Michigan State fans going after each other. By the way, I want to save those thoughts for the second segment. It's a game where Illinois just got to take care of business. And Maryland may historically, at least recent history, be the inferior program. But we all saw what happened to Illinois versus Maryland last year when Maryland came into the State Farm Center and just beat down a sleepy Illinois team. And it was one of those WTF moments of last year. This year's Maryland team is honestly even better. If you did not get a chance to watch my interview with Trey Moore of Locked on Terps, it was on yesterday's episode, and he kind of gave us a kind of a scouting report on the Maryland Terrapins. They're one of my more pleasurable teams to watch, but mainly because of the outstanding freshmen that they have. Derek Queen, who's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds on 55% shooting. I don't think Derek Queen's going to be the problem, though. And again, I call Derek my favorite player that's not an Illini this year so far. I think this matchup's going to come down to Kylan Boswell and Jacoby Gillespie. I think if Kylan can focus on what Kylan Boswell does really well, and that's going to be the key, because I feel like a lot of the struggles that Illinois has had as of late has been because of the absence of Kasparas Jakucionis. And when that happens, Kylan Boswell all of a sudden has extra responsibilities and more things that he has to concern himself with on the basketball court, which quite honestly recently has made his defensive performance struggle a little bit. And so hopefully there's not going to be any issues, whether it comes to last minute, injuries or just playing 10 minutes and being fouled out, issues with Kasparas. If Kasparas just plays his normal 25, 30 minutes in this game, and Kylan's able to focus on Gillespie, who himself is averaging 14.5 points with 4 assists on 48% shooting. Now, Kylan is bigger than Jacoby. Jacoby's 6'1", 186 pounds. He had 22 points in their last game against Nebraska, where Derek himself struggled. I really feel like the narrative with Illinois season this year is like some random player can come in and, basically single-handedly beat Illinois. And for Maryland, I don't think it's going to be Derek, because I think even if Derek gets his points, which he probably will, he's going to be battling Avicic, and he's going to be battling Morez Johnson. It's going to be, a side note. I'm really looking forward to seeing Avicic and Derek go at it, because Derek's a very physical player. Derek is the old school Kofi Coburn. That's not very old school, but I know most of my viewership's a little bit younger, so that's who I'm equating it to. But just classic old Big Ten bruiser. He's going to talk to you. He wants to bang, all that kind of stuff. Avicic, even though he's 7'1", 260 pounds, my everydayers in here know. I talk about he's not very much a physical guy. He's a finesse player and a big body, someone who doesn't really want to mess around with you down low, and he wants to shoot that three when he can, which in this game could come in handy because if Queen has to get away from the rim to defend Ivisic, I think that would help Illinois a great deal. It's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to see when Ivisic has his sub out. And Morez Johnson and Derek Queen are going at it too. Two star freshmen, two of my favorite freshmen in the Big Ten Conference this year. It's a battle which, I mean, Derek is probably going to go pro after this year, but if he doesn't, I think it's going to be a battle of two of the best Titans in the conference as soon as next year. It's going to be fun to watch those guys because Morez is not going to shy down from Derek. Morez is going to bump you right back, and Morez is going to talk to you, and he's not going to shy away from it. The kind of contact that a player like Queen brings. So that's a matchup that, side note that I'm really, really looking forward to tomorrow. But the key, of course, is Kasparas playing, right? Kasparas just playing a normal Kasparas game. I think Illinois becomes an infinitely better basketball team. Not that they're a bad basketball team when Kasparas is out, but in my opinion, they're maybe a second weekend team without Kasparas. And that's if everyone else just shoots their lights out like they did against a Penn State. But if on a normal day without Kasparas, I think this team can lose to anybody in the conference. And Maryland isn't just anybody. Maryland is actually a pretty decent team. I think Illinois, in fact, is only one game ahead of the Terrapins in the Big Ten standings right now. Speaking of, this is almost, and I know I've used this term in the past, but we're running out of time. This is almost a must-win for Illinois. The fact that you have Maryland at home and almost 40% of the season is over. And Illinois currently stands tied in fourth place, 2.5 games behind the Michigan State Spartans. Michigan is 6-1. Purdue is 7-2. Illinois has got to win the games at home. And certainly they're going to have to beat this Maryland Terrapins team, who, fortunately for us, I think once again we get that coaching advantage. In a lot of ways, this matchup to me mirrors what I want to say about the Indiana preview that I did about a week ago. Omar Balu, I said in that preview, may get all the points in the world. He may dominate that game, but it's Miles Rice that I was worried about. It's the guard. It's, because again, I think about Claude from USC, the DJ Davis, those type of players who give Illinois trouble. Illinois was able to, for the most part, shut down Miles Rice. And so I think the key on Thursday is going to be Jacoby. Shut down Jacoby. Let Kylan focus his efforts on Gillespie. And I think Illinois is going to be okay. Whether they can get it done, who knows? Just know that right after the game, of course, I'm going to be live right here on this channel. And I'm going to have a special guest, Sam Olber. Some of you might know him as one of the co-hosts from the brilliant Cubs podcast, Locked on Cubs. He's going to be joining me. He's also a big Illini fan. Me and him have been texting a lot over the past couple months. And so, I've been looking forward to bringing him on. And so he'll be on with me immediately after that Maryland game. So please, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that notification button, that subscribe button, and you'll join us immediately after the game on Thursday. Therapy is the game changer. It can help manage stress, improve sleep, and communicate more effectively. But finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge. That's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You get matched up with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours. And it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. It's never been easier to prioritize your mental health. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/lockedoncollege and enter promo code SPACE80. To match with the licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/lockedoncollege and enter promo SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/lockedoncollege. Promo code SPACE80. Okay, fair warning. If you're here for professional, unbiased analysis, this segment right here that I'm about to do is not for you. I try to do that 90% of the time, but this particular one, there's a certain storyline that's been going on for 5 days now that's just been annoying, been aggravating me, and I just feel like I need to get my final thoughts out on it. And that, of course, is the discord between the Michigan State fans and the Illini fans since Sunday, since the Kasparas Jakucionis getting 9 minutes of game time and fouling out, and did he really commit 5 fouls or not? And there's Illinois fans who are complaining, and then there's Michigan State fans who are very condescending when it comes to, just it's the internet, right? I mean, that's the one thing you have to just brand this all with. It's the internet, and people are silly online, but I'll be honest. At this point, I've grown kind of tired of it. I think it's silly right now. This is a message to all of Illinois fans, okay? Because Illinois lost on Sunday, ultimately, there's no winning this argument right now. There's a reason that my counterpart, Matt Sheehan, on Locked On Spartans, we did a crossover episode for that game, if some of you guys remember. He's trolling the heck out of you guys online. And it's because it drives him clicks, of course. That's just what a smart person's supposed to do when you're creating content online. And B, ultimately, we have no ground to stand on because Michigan State won that game. Me, I've been a little bit more quiet because I'm waiting for that return game. I have my thoughts. I have my opinions. But I'm waiting for that return game, which is going to be at the State Farm Center, where we're going to honor Terrence Shannon Jr. that particular night. The energy is going to be there from the Illini side. And trust me, this locker room, Brad Underwood, they know what just happened on Sunday. I can't wait for that return match. But right now, 4 days after the game, when Illini fans are still complaining about, hey, but this shouldn't have happened, and if we had our full roster intact, we would have won. Let's be honest, guys. If we were on the other side, we would be making fun of that too. It's all hypothetical, right? I'm the number one guy here on this show almost every day. I say Illinois is the most talented team in the Big Ten. I've been saying that since the offseason. But I can't say anything right now because Michigan State is up 3 games on Illinois right now. Okay, and Illinois may not ultimately catch up to Michigan State in the Big Ten Conference this year, but wait for that comeback game. Wait for the return game. But I do need to get this part out. There's a reason I feel like Michigan State fans right now are getting extra enjoyment out of trolling the Illini fans. And I'm trying to be very humble when I say this. Okay, I've been watching Big Ten basketball for 30 years now. And for a very, very long time, Michigan State was the brand. Whether it was Judd Heathcote and obviously Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo, one of the all-time Mount Rushmore coaches of the Big Ten Conference. Michigan State has been one of, if not the brand name in this conference for a very, very long time. Right now, Illinois is kind of the new kid on the block. Illinois is, of course, historically been one of the all-time great programs. I believe we're in the top 15 in wins ever in all of college basketball. But we haven't had the success that Michigan State has when it comes to national championships and Final Four. But what Brad Underwood is building in Champaign has the potential to be something very, very special. And over the last 5 years, now Spartans fans may or may not admit this to your face. And that's up to them. It's easy to hide behind the internet. It's easy to hide behind Twitter. But just take a look at the last 5 years. But quite honestly, let's just make this numbers driven because that's what Michigan State fans like to do, right? How many Final Fours have you been to? How many national championships do you have? They love to bring up the past. The problem is they keep bringing up the very distant past. Let's bring up something a little bit more recent. And I'm just talking about the resurgence of this Illinois program, the Brad Underwood era. So I just picked 5 years, right? Nice round number, 5 years. In the last 5 years, not including this year, because the season's not over yet, this is the conference win totals for Michigan State. 10 wins last year, 11 the year before, 11 the year before that, 9 the year before that, and 14 the year before that. Quick math, that tells me 41, 55 wins, Big Ten wins in the last 5 years. Now let's do the Illinois side. Again, not counting this year, let's count the last 5 years Big Ten win totals. Last year, 14. The year before, 11. The year before that, 15. The year before that, 16. The year before that, 13. And by my quick math, that makes it 69 wins. Nice. Over the last 5 years for Illinois in the Big Ten Conference compared to 55 for Michigan State. Now, those of you who are fans of college basketball and follow Illinois or just the Big Ten in general know that just a year ago, right now, on January 22nd, or whenever you're watching this, of 2024, there was talks that Michigan State might miss the tournament. There was talks and frustration saying, hey, has the game passed Tom Izzo by? Why isn't he embracing the transfer portal? Is it time to gently push out Tom? And has Michigan State plateaued? Have they lost their spot in the Big Ten Conference? They have. And you know who they've lost it to? It's Illinois. Purdue, of course, has been consistent for the last 15, 20 years. They're constantly atop and battling for the Big Ten championship. Michigan State was also one of those teams. But they've been replaced. And they've been replaced by the Illini. So, of course, right now, the fallback that you're getting from all your Spartans trolls online, from the other content creators online who know that Illinois is such an easy fan base to get engagement from. They're feeling proud, as they should. 7-0 this year in the Big Ten Conference. Do I think they're the best team in the Big Ten Conference right now? No. But quite honestly, right now they are. The numbers show it. 7-0. They have not lost yet. We'll see where they end up at the end of the year. But right now, if I'm speaking without any bias, 7-0, they're on top of the Big Ten Conference. So, of course, they're walking around and they're talking with a little extra moxie. But the reality is they're getting these digs in because they can. For the last 5 years, the spotlight has slowly shined off of the Spartans and onto the Fighting Illini. Illinois is becoming one of the premier national brands. Sure, we don't have the Final Fours yet. Sure, we don't have the national championship yet. But when it comes to national attention, when it just comes to attention in general, Illinois right now is a bigger brand name than Michigan State. And I know Spartans fans are going to hate hearing that. But it's true. I'm making myself sick by telling you again just how good of a year that they're having this year. 7-0. They're just a really hardworking, talented basketball team. Let them have their moment. We have a return game in the State Farm Center. And trust me and Matt, we're going to have another crossover episode before that game. And it'll probably not be a traditional game preview. He's got numbers, he's got stats, he's got trolls. I've got numbers, I've got stats, I've got trolls. It's going to be a can't miss episode. But right now, I'm just telling you all, please, Illinois fans, stop with the engagement. Stop getting baited into those trolls because, again, right now, we can't win the argument because Illinois did not win the game. Ultimately, all we can do is shout out hypotheticals. Hypotheticals at the end, I get it. In the postgame, I did the same thing, right? But that's where hypotheticals belong, when you're venting. 24 hours, that should be the time limit. After that, beyond that, we just look silly trying to respond to all these accounts on Twitter. Let it go. Let's focus on Maryland. Let's focus on Northwestern right after that. Michigan State, we get to play again. This is not Purdue, where we only play them once. This is not Michigan, where we're only playing them one time this year. Michigan State, now granted, just think how annoying that would have been if we weren't able to play them twice and we had to live with that loss until next season. That's not the case. Illinois gets a chance to avenge last Sunday, and I think they will. And I think they will resoundingly. But we'll talk about that game when it's time to talk about it. right now, just let this whole Michigan State beef go. Okay? They want to troll us because they haven't felt this important in so long. Their head coach, everything they hate Brad Underwood for is what their head coach is beloved for. Brad Underwood, sure, had a reputation in the past where he would be berating officials and whatnot. Any Illinois fan will tell you over the last 2 years, he's mellowed out dramatically. Sure, he has his outbursts every now and then. But Tom Izzo, we just watched him on Sunday, just constantly berating those referees all game long on Sunday. Brad doesn't do that. But the perception is Brad's the one who's always yelling at the refs. He's not. He's grown older. He's matured. Right now, we have no choice. Let the Spartans have their moment. Let's move on from it. It's an argument we can't win. And quite honestly, in the national spotlight, we look like crybabies, right? And that's why I stopped engaging. Take a look at my comments videos from anytime I talk about Michigan State. It's constantly, let's quit crying, do the blah, blah, blah. It's just over and over again. And you know what? I used to respond and then I just stopped. Because at this point, I'm moving on. And trust me, so should you guys. We got a rematch against them. I feel really good about that rematch. But we got to wait until then.
Attending the new 12-team college football playoff games is an incredible experience that brings fans together like never before. I remember the excitement of past playoff games and can't wait to make new memories with the updated format and extra teams involved. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime's Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
All right, that's enough venting and ranting. I'm putting my professional back on. Again, I appreciate all of you. I sincerely do. And again, take my advice for whatever it's worth, and it's worth nothing. I'm just saying my perception here on this side is every time I see the exchange go back and forth between Michigan State and Illinois fans, all I wonder is I wish I could just sit next to you guys, the Illini fans, and be like, hey, what are you trying to get out of this? Because I just don't think there's any winning from it now. But regardless, again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm getting so close to 2,000 subs. I think as of this recording, we were at 1983. So 17 subs away from the magical 2,000 mark. My goal is to hit 2,000 before the end of January. So if you have a friend, if you have a mom, go steal her phone, hit subscribe on this channel. Again, it really helps me out immensely, and it doesn't cost you guys anything. And I believe this is 25 or 26 straight days now I've produced content on this channel every single day for a half hour. All I ask in return is, with your support, it's not a single cent. This show is absolutely free to you. It's just make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe on as many different devices as you can. I do hope you guys all join us after that Maryland game. Hopefully we get to celebrate together. Of course, there's always the chance that we have to have another therapy session together. I just don't want to deal with that. Let's just go ahead. Kasparas, throw in 17, 7, and 5, and let's just have a big Ben Hummerkaus game. Let's just take care of Maryland easy. Another 20-point victory, 25-point victory. Help that net ranking, which, of course, right now, Illinois is the best team in the Big Ten Conference, because I think ultimately they can still be the best team in the Big Ten Conference. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.